All right. Breanne, thank you so much.
Well, welcome, my brother.
Yes.
Thank you for having
How are you doing today?
I'm good.
Good. You know what? I'm doing good. Now, I'm at a stage in my life right now where I know what I'm being challenged a little bit, but I'm at the maturity now where I can step up to that challenge and just keep going, just fighting through it.
Yeah.
But it's every day is just different.
It is.
Every day is different.
Yeah.
So I have you here. Well, first of all, I know you know a whole lot about that. But I have you here today because, so we're in this committee together, Make It Okay campaign. And it's funny because we were having this conversation around stigma around mental health in the Black community.
Right.
And even within the church, what do people do about, you don't talk about mental health. And it was funny because we were like, hey, sometimes people need Jesus and Breanne. And with Breanne, you get both.
That's in church.
So that's why I'm so happy you're here. So when I was just doing some meditation on this and just trying to think about, okay, what are some things within the Black community that we say around mental health, what we do? And there's this saying where when it's okay to not be okay.
Yeah.
But what does that mean? I'm not gonna lie to you, I can't wrap my mind around it. Cause I'm like, why should I be okay with not being okay?
Yeah.
But what does that mean though?
Corey, I think that could take on all types of directions and interpretations. But two come to mind for me. It's okay to not be okay. So in my skin as a Black woman, it's this idea that I can turn myself off, be aware and accept that I'm tired, that I'm frustrated, that I'm overworked. And I can sit in that for a minute and don't have to do anything with it. I don't have to fix it. I don't got to dress it up. I ain't got to beat it. I got to put no makeup on it. I don't have to care for it. I could just sit in it just for a minute. Figure out what my coping strategies are going to be and move right along.
Right, but how long is too long?
Yeah, no, see that.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you can get, who was it? I want to say it was Jennifer Lewis that, at some point, you sit in your crap too long, you stop smelling it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think also too, the second caveat of it's okay to not be okay. It's this idea that I can turn myself off so that I can take care of myself. Because also in this skin, I am responsible for a lot of things and a lot of people. And so when I say, I'm not okay today, that's an indication that I need to re-up on my self-care. Now, how long is too long? It's too long when I begin to become complacent. I deny myself of hygiene. I deny myself of feedback. So there's been times where I have done, services with others, therapy with others, where people are trying to share with them their observations of that person, they don't want to receive it. And they still want to sit there. So I know that I've not been okay for a while if I'm starting to just turn my nose up to feedback that is really trying to be helpful towards me.
Right. So do you feel like, sometimes it feels like just sitting in it? Because I've been there too, where I'm like, man, when you said the not doing your hygiene, now I always brush my teeth. I'm not out here funky mouth. I'm just saying that. Like, no matter how sad I am, I can put that toothbrush to my mouth, but I won't brush my hair.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm out here ashy. Yeah. But there's a comfort in that sometimes too. It's weird. It's like I don't care. And I don't know what it is that kind of gets me out of that. Can you talk a little bit about, so you're somebody, I feel like you notice things in people, even when they don't notice it in themselves.
Yeah.
So I'm sure you've probably noticed somebody that they've been sitting in it for so long. But when you're recognizing that, what is your first move to them? Like, what do you say to them when you know they're sitting in something but they're not saying it?
Absolutely.
Like, hey, Corey, I see them ashy hands. What?
I love to use compassionate confrontation. So it's this idea of I can sit in here with you, but I just want to make you aware of observations, and I need you to help this make sense for me. So you tell me that you want this goal, you want this outcome, but you've been sitting here not doing any of the objectives to get there. Help me understand your barriers. Is there anything I can do to help you remove those barriers? And a lot of times it's an internal message. And we have to kind of dissect that and just kind of understand that that message didn't start with you. Who told you that? Or what did you pick up in your environment that solidified that for you? And then that's where the real change and the real power comes, because then they get to navigate that part of their story, create a different ending to that story, and change the narrative so that they can change the trajectory of where their life is going. And that's the power in what I do. When you see that, come on, all right, get up. And you can see them rise, you see them rise. And it's like, okay, let's get it. Let's get
right.
it. Yeah.
It's that gift, one, being able to connect with somebody, even recognize that. I feel like something that a challenge I have, even recognizing it in friends of mine.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm so one, and I've said this in many of these shows that I've done. I'm the last one to, even if I see it, Breanne, if I'm like, man, my guy's not doing well, I am so afraid of having that conversation because I don't know. I'm always thinking, okay, if it goes here, I don't know what to do. I don't know how to help him.
Yeah.
Right? Or I don't know what the next thing is to say. And I overthink it, which I feel like a lot of people overthink that. You know, that don't have maybe that background or expertise or experience that you may have to be able to, if somebody comes back to you defensively. Yeah. That's what I struggle with is I know my guy's down bad, so I'm just going to be quiet to help him, but it doesn't make any sense. You know, because I want to make it harder.
Yeah, and you enable him to sit even longer.
Yeah.
So let me talk to you about the gift of discernment, right? So I've had it since I was a little kid. I can recall being 3, picking up stuff from people. And it's just through observation. Now, I should warn you that I was raised by old people. I was raised by my matriarchs. So my grandmother, Margaret McQuarrie, was a nurse. And so she was always fielding and asking and looking around and trying to figure out why this is the cause or the effect for this. Now, my granny, on the other hand, who actually is right down the street, she lived right down the street. She died at 100 years old. She was silent, but she knew all your business. So it was this idea that I got to see these older women navigate life around me, and I picked it up from them because I was around them all the time. You know, what 4-year-old eating Cheetos, drinking Sunkist, and watching Young and the Restless, doing crossword puzzles. That would be, that I look forward to.
Happy.
Yeah. My content coming. Meals on Wheels is coming. The meals, we just excited. Right? But that is where that gifting, I think, was actually tailored. Being around older Black women. But with that said, you also learn the skill of making it look like you're okay all the time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I didn't realize for a very, very long time, but my grandmother and my grandfather, they weren't married. They were boyfriend and girlfriend. They always said that all the time. But I didn't realize how much my grandmother was making that relationship look okay. When it wasn't.
Oh, right.
You know, because she was navigating mood swings and seasonal affective disorder.
Right.
Or, poverty mindset,
Yeah.
So I got to see that curving. And so when you see the curving, it becomes natural to understand, like, that's how you navigate difficulty. That's how you navigate maybe discord, amongst humans. And then once I, became on my own and became aware of what was going on, it made me wonder. It just made me wonder. And that's kind of how I wandered into human development. I love the brain. I love the brain. Because one brain could care for a child, love a child, but in that same brain one day, if they sit too long, then snap and kill that child. I'm interested in how that works.
Right.
And that's what got me into this field, because I just like, the mind is beautiful, but it's a game.
Right. It's a game.
The brain is like the first game you learn how to play.
Man, that's scary.
It is, but it's the truth.
It's the truth. You brought up something just now that made me think about what's been going on around us.
Yeah.
And being a mother yourself, being a proud Black woman, strong Black woman. What I've noticed about Black women is when a baby, I'm gonna say just baby in general, it don't matter how old that baby is, if they're in danger, sad, in need, cape is on.
We out. Who did it?
Who did it? Where they at? What can I do?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Now on the outside, that is, I'm looking at you like, man, that is awesome. Right? But what's the flip side of that, of a strong Black woman?
Well, I can talk about that forever. I don't think people understand all of the logicals that follow, right? So there is the physiological, the psychological, the sociological implications and challenges that we are analytically fielding all the time, right? As you know, historical trauma has taught us that Black women were the glue, the tape, the fixer of not just their own enslaved family, but for master's family. They're breastfeeding their children, sleeping with their men, doing daycare, childcare for their children, right? So a lot of times this Black woman was fielded between two opinions, but she had to look as if that I can do them both. I got it. I'm good. And she had to do it because what happens when that enslaved man that was her husband is sold off, or her kids are sold off, right? So I have to keep everything intact and together. I gotta keep routine, right? Because I don't know who's gonna leave me next, or I don't know if I'm being sold next. So it's this idea of knowing that I have to have this innate nature to be a solution-focused person, right? So as you know, Emancipation Proclamation, then Juneteenth happened, and then there's no interventions for Black people to recover, right? So they leave plantations and go into these freed spaces or free-ish spaces with this same mentality, with this same drive, with this same mantra, these damaging but survival type internal messages that were damaging them, right? When I think about physiological, the sweat, the somatic body sensations, you have these pains, but you can't identify why.
Right.
Your joints are hurting, because you're bottling up stress for everybody else. And so there's your physiological side, the sociological side, right? Or I just made up a word. Who cares?
It's all good.
But there's the societal side, right? This idea that I have to look like all this stuff.
Yep. Unless somebody say the wrong thing at the wrong time.
Let me go to the bathroom real quick. But I don't want to do my job. I'm switched. Right? So there's that society thing that happens, right?
Yeah.
And then there's this emotional thing that usually a lot of Black women I talk to do in the shower, or they do at night, because that's the only time they're alone. Right? They might have a baby calling out, "Mommy, mommy," in the bathroom, but they're in the shower underneath water, sobbing because of the pain of what they're carrying. And I think also because we were set up historically to not have boundaries, that's what you'll see a lot with African American women. And that's why boundaries are so, crucial for us now. That's why you see a lot of memes and, a lot of movements that talk about reclaiming my time and, you know what I mean? Or I'll choose my peace over blood and all this stuff, right? That's just them trying to create and implement boundaries.
Right.
Because we've been trained not to have any. And that's where that strong comes in, because she can do everything.
Right.
She can print the bulletins at the church. She can play with the kids outside. She can walk dogs in the neighborhood. She can listen to me in the kitchen when I'm cooking and crying. She just do everything.
Right.
That's because I'm boundless. And someone never taught me how to have boundaries.
Yeah. It took me a long time to get over the fact that my mom was always in her room taking that time. Because as a kid, you're like, dang, bro. You know what I mean? And come out. What are you doing? But then as I got older, I started thinking like, man, she had 3, I'll say 4, I'll include my stepdad, big old babies, right? Mm-hmm. Driving her insane.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Ends wasn't meeting. You know what I'm saying? And there was a lot of just stress, and she had to still cook. She had to still clean. Mm-hmm. She had to make sure we got, we had lunch money. Yeah. She had to make sure all these things that took me a while to really, I didn't really understand until I was an adult and had to do it myself.
Absolutely.
And I really had to give, not only just my mother, but Black mothers in general who are going through that and don't even have an outlet to say, just go, my mom's outlet was her room. And here's my, ashy, nappy-headed self being like, get out, come out your room, you know what I'm saying? And being mad about it. And being mad about it. But what's the next move, right? So like there are a lot of, that I know of, single Black mothers that are going through the stress by themselves, that are trying to stay strong as you can, but they're one step away from smacking somebody. They're one getting out of their characters. That's not even your character. It's just you're holding on to so much.
Yep.
What do you do? Like, who do you reach out to if you don't feel like you have anybody?
Right. And I think that is what can change or catapult or cast, into something that's positive and great. So I would say, one, just know what your resources are. And I know this sounds odd or it sounds weird, but you can find a lot of things on social media.
Yeah.
One beautiful group that is taking place locally here in Des Moines is For Mommies. So Mina Jones created this group, and there is in the 3rd stage of the group, and it is popping off.
Word.
So it's the idea of just finding connection and commonality with somebody else. Not that you're okay, but I'm just kind of struggling. Can we lean on each other in this struggle? Because that helps build community so you won't feel so isolated and like you're alone. So using your resources and making sure that you know what's out there. I think another step is to make sure that you have trusted people in your circle or around you. Mm-hmm. So, there's been people that I've talked with throughout my therapeutic experience where they'll say, I'll talk to somebody in my child's school, or I'll talk to somebody at my church, or I'll talk to somebody at the community center because they're my safe space. So make sure you find someone that is safe for you. And then also using modalities that make sense for you. If you like to write how you're feeling. Mm-hmm. If you like to kind of hear what's in your brain, use your voice recorder in your phone and just get it all out and play it back to yourself.
Right.
Because what's important, I think, for me as a Black woman is seeing all that's in my brain before me. Is it as bad as it feels? Is it as bad as it looks? Is it as bad as my body is sensing? Let me think. Because maybe some of this stuff ain't even mine that I'm holding on to. Yeah. So in my office, we call that like trauma sorting, or just kind of sorting your thoughts and giving them back to the people that they belong to.
Right.
Yeah.
when I speak with you, and I speak with, our homegirl Kayla,
Yeah.
it just feels like this is just who you are. But is there ever a time where you feel like, you know what, I am not a therapist today? You know what I'm saying? And like somebody might be sitting down with you ready to, and this is what's going on in my life, and you be like, man, that's crazy.
There are times where I tell people I'm off today. Matter of fact, I was at I'll Make Me a World over the weekend, and somebody's like, you got a table, you pussy? I said, I'm off today. And they kind of looked at me like, oh, I get it. Yeah, so that's kind of like my tagline. Like when people start, I'm off today.
Yep. I can just envision you being somewhere in the corner of your eye, and you see them. They coming for you because they want to release all their trauma onto you. What does that feel like? Because I'm sure that happens a lot.
Absolutely.
Someone trying to take all their trauma off of themselves and give it to you.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, that happens more than I would like it to. But I think what it is there's two sides to this. One, I have to come to the reckoning that I am gifted, and with this gift, there's a price. And it's bigger than me. So that's why I have to rely on my spirituality a lot. My higher power, which I call Jesus Christ, Heavenly Father, Holy Spirit. I know that this is not my gift. And so I rely on them a lot. Like sometimes I see someone coming and I just start praying instantly. Lord, I'm really right now. I'm
right.
Just allow them to discern that and just keep it moving. So I rely heavily on spirituality because without my higher power, there is no me. There's no me.
That's real.
Yeah,
that's real. Breanne, thank you so much. If I kept talking, I was gonna lay back. You know what I mean? And
like, give me your insurance.
Get my.
I know you got that good insurance.
Thank you so much for chopping that with me. Yes, thank you. I appreciate you.
I appreciate you, sir, and your movement and your call. And you will forever be in my prayers. The office bigger than you too, sir.
Oh.
Yeah.
For real.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And God.